What's up, everyone, and welcome back. Today we are talking GSPro. We are going to go through from start to finish, configuration page. We're going to describe some of the settings there. We're going to launch into GSPro. We're going to talk about it all. We're going to talk about each tab, the four main tabs, settings, sounds. We're going to load into a course, and we're basically just going to discuss tips, tricks. If there's something in this video that I have not discussed, please leave a comment. GSPro is just so fascinating. It's very in-depth. We're just scratching the surface. I've been using it for a little over a year, and I feel like I learned something. Basically, anytime I play with someone online, someone has some type of trick or tip that I pick up on. So that's what this video is about. It's going to be for beginners. It's going to be for people that's had GSPro for a while. You may learn something. Feel free to skip around. So I'm going to start very basic entry level with the configuration page, and then we're going to dive into GSPro. We're going to talk about from left to right what those tabs are, what to do with them. So feel free to skip around, and I appreciate you guys hanging out. So what we're going to start with here first is configuration page. So what you see here is I run in 4K, but when you load this, if you're not familiar with gaming or you've never had this type of setup, you're used to just turning on a game, say if you're on a gaming console, and just go, right? But if you're into computer gaming, I was not. I've had to learn this. This was new to me. So basically your screen resolution is going to be native to what your projector is. We can dive into that in a different video of how your projector is set up, whether you're true 16:9, whether you're 4:3, or your 1:1 ratio. If you have an NVIDIA graphics card, you have the ability to actually customize your resolution. So the biggest nugget here, if you will, screen resolution, that first number is going to be width, okay? So that's how wide. And then that second number is going to be the vertical pixels for your resolution. So you can see here I have 3840 by 2160. That is true 4K, 16:9. And so you're going to have to play around with this. Again, that is not for this video. This is just basic entry level. So your main two are going to be 4K, 3840, 2160, and then your 1920 by 1080p that is selected there. So that's your options. You're going to jump down here to the graphics quality, and you're going to have 7 different options. You're going to start from ultra all the way to light. So light is the least amount of impact on your graphics card. Then you're going to move into low, medium, high, very high, and then ultra. Ultra is the highest push on your graphics card. So if you have a computer that's capable of pushing full 1080p on ultra, that's what you want to go with. If you have a 4K setup and you can run on ultra, that's what you want to go on. So you can actually, if you're starting to see skipping or lag, or your computer's starting to get hot, you want to back that down. So start with ultra, run some courses, back it down to very high, then go to high or medium, whatever you need to do. Medium and high, and sometimes very high on some of these new courses that GSPro has. There's really not a whole lot of difference between graphics and what you're seeing visually. When you go to ultra, that's when I see the biggest jump, or obviously if you're jumping into 4K. So when you do this drop down, it's going to have options, and you're just going to want to play around with it and see what best fits your needs, basically your computer, because you don't want to be skipping around. No one wants to hit a ball and watch it kind of skip through the air. You want a good seamless play, and so just play around with this. We'll talk later in the video on kind of how to judge how your computer's doing while using GSPro, looking at your frames per second. But we'll talk about that later. So next thing we're going to do is your monitor, your display. I have 4 displays. So I have a projector, I have a TV, I have a computer monitor, and then I actually have a second projector that is going to cast floor projection. And again, I have videos on that. Go ahead and click the view channel, look up what the floor projection actually is. It is really cool. Not a must-have, but it's definitely a wow factor. So you're gonna, if you have one screen, it's gonna be super easy. It's gonna pop up and it's only gonna have one screen. So you're gonna wanna go to your Windows settings, go to displays, go to identify. And when you click identify, it's gonna pop up a number on the screen. That's the one you're gonna select. Or you can just click it. If that's the wrong one, close it out and try it again. So for me, mine is 3, and that's what my projector is going to be on. So we're going to go ahead and launch GSPro. All right, as you can see here, we have GSPro starting to launch. You're going to start seeing some things pop up when you do this. You're not seeing it on my screen just because I only have GSPro loaded for the sake of this video. So the most important thing that is going to launch is your connector. Hear me when I say this. Do not close the connector. You can minimize it. Hit the minimize button. That's fine if you only have one screen. If you have multiple screens, let it be, leave it be. It's fine. If you want to minimize it, again, that is okay. Do not close it. If you close it, then your launch monitor will not connect to GSPro. You'll be swinging and wondering what's going on. I'll show you later if you do close it or if you do have an issue with the launch monitor, what you can do to reset that. Again, that'll be later as we follow these tabs. All right, so as we're here on GSPro, again, we're going to work from left to right. So we're going to explain what, kind of in a nutshell, what these 5, forgive me, I said 4, there's 5 of them, so my apologies, what these 5 tabs actually do. And so we're going to go into that in some detail. We're going to start at the top though here. So first thing you're going to want to do, obviously if you haven't already, or if you have people coming over, this is the players tab. You can jump in here and go ahead and name players, save them. You can change their handicap. It really doesn't do much. Obviously, you're going to want to switch left to right if that's the player's handiness, or if you have an overhead projector or I'm sorry, an overhead launch monitor or a launch monitor that you can switch. So that's the players tab. And then we're going to jump into settings here. So a lot of things in this one. All right, so within the settings, you can do the players as well. We're going to go over here and go to game. So game, there's going to be a lot of things in here that is useful. So something that gets asked pretty frequently is, say you have a group over, can someone finish out the hole instead of switching back and forth? Sim golf by yourself, very fast. You can play rounds quick. When you add 4, 6 people over, those rounds get very long. So it does speed it up to finish out the hole. So that's the option here. Or you can select it to once someone gets on the green, they have to finish their putt out. And so that way it's not going back and forth to your traditional golf rules, which would be furthest person out until you get to the green, and then it's the furthest putt out. So you can change those there. Here's your elevation. I keep it at 0. Most courses have elevation changes. I just check that before I go. All right, we're going to go over here to realism. So this is the option whether you want to do casual gameplay or you want to be realistic. I'm someone that wants to play in the most realistic settings to better my game. So I have it selected as realistic. You can switch just to casual. Say you have kids, say you have people over that are not as good at golf. You may want to jump this to a casual so it's more fun. It's not as hard. And then you can change, how realistic the ball shaping is. So if someone hits a big fade or slice rather, you can change and limit that to make it more fun. That way it doesn't take as long and, they're not all over the golf course. For me, I play realistic. We're going to go down here to settings. So this is a quick tip here. Simulator, that just means you're using golf clubs. You can make this in mouse mode. So if you click mouse mode, say you just want to test some things on your computer or whatnot, you can put it in mouse mode. You can actually hit golf balls by using your mouse. You can't play in any of the tournaments or anything of that nature with mouse mode, but it does allow you to simulate the golf ball being hit, and maybe you're wanting to check your frames per second, or maybe you're just wanting to see what a course looks like, but that's option there. And then the one thing that I was talking about, if you close that GSPro connector as soon as it launches up, or you're having troubles with your launch monitor and you just kind of want to get a fresh restart, this button right here, Reset GSPro Connector, that doesn't do any damage. It is quite helpful. So if you click that Reset GSPro Connector, what it's going to do is on your initial launch of GSPro, your connector launches with it. That's all it's going to do. It's going to close it down and relaunch it. Sometimes that fixes little bugs here and there. If you've been using your simulator for a very long time and that launch monitor maybe goes into some type of idle mode, you walk away, come back. It's technology. It fails sometimes, right? So sometimes you got to do the perfect IT fix. Close it down, restart it, fire it back up. And that's what that Reset GSPro connector does. And then down here at the bottom, we have latest stable and we have public betas. So GSPro, always adapting, always updating. And so what this allows you to do is you can launch into their public beta. So this allows you to use some of the new features for whatever they're getting ready to update. And then if you want to, you can always go back to the latest stable version. That means that's what's released to the public. And you can always do that just by switching these two. So once you switch, you have to close out GSPro and then launch back in. What happens with courses, they get launched on the beta. You're allowed to play those prior, submit your feedback, so the course designers can actually fix any of the issues that are on the course before it gets released to the stable version. So that's another thing you can do with the beta. All right, we're going to go down to sound. Sound's pretty self-explanatory. Menu sounds, course sounds, and then master volume and GSPro sound. So honestly, you can just control this from the volume on your projector or whatever speaker that you're using. The one call out that I do want to say is this ball ready sound. It's kind of hidden behind my camera here, but that's the ball ready sound alert. So when a ball rolls into the camera view or launch monitor, whatever you're using, it will make a ding sound. Depending on the connector itself, sometimes they're different sounds. I love having that because for me, I'm used to it. I know that I can look down and see the green arrows, but my brain is also kind of connected to that sound. It is very, very great to have when you have people over because it's easy. Put the ball in this area. When you hear the ding, you're ready to hit the ball. So kind of bulletproof from that standpoint. We're going to jump over to visuals. Not going to talk a lot here, but it just gives you the option to really enhance your what you want GSPro to be. So you can show ball ready indicator, and then you can also hide user interface. So if you hit the ball and you don't want all those data tiles, you can get those removed. So when you hit the ball or before you hit the ball, that can be immersive. It can be completely gone. All you see is the golf course. That's what you're going to want to select. If you want it to hide after you hit the ball, so you want to be able to see the wind, your lie, the mini map, the data tiles, but when you hit the ball, you want it to disappear afterwards for a more immersive, realistic gameplay. Just hit the hide user interface on shot. Stance display up and down. So basically, do you want to know how far you hit the ball, or do you want to know how far the ball is from the green? That's basically counting up or down. So if you hit the ball 300 yards and you want to see that metric, that's fine. If the hole is 500 yards and you hit the ball 300 and you want to see how far you are, so basically that would be only 200. So you can start preparing for that next shot. You can do that as well. You're just switching up and down there. Scorecard loads. So that's in tournament play. How long do you want the scorecard to load? Up next message. A lot of this stuff's going to be pretty much default. The one I do want to talk about that I love is the match settings condensed. I'll show you what that looks like. So basically, if you go to Say you want to play a course. So match settings all on one page. So that's the gameplay, the tee box, pins, any settings for that match is all on one screen. You're not having to toggle at the top. There's different tabs. You're not having to do that. It's basically all on one page there. All right, guys. So next we're going to move into local match. This is just exhibition play. This allows you to just play golf. So you can play courses. From this, you can still add multiple people. This is just local, so people that's going to be playing within your sim room. So you have 4 people over, you guys want to play. This is where it's done. Over here, you have your installed courses. So you have all courses, and then you have ones that you favorited. You have courses collection-wise that's been verified, and then you can actually filter this pretty nicely. So if you want to deselect something, you just click it. Maybe you want to know all courses that's newest. You can just do that. Maybe you want to see what's popular. I see the question all the time on the Facebook group. Hey, what are your favorite courses? Basically, it's here. Just hit all courses, hit what's popular, and then have fun downloading as many as you would like. And then you have a little bit more filters down at the bottom. You can filter by difficulty, country, and then course style as well. So once you load into that, just like we did a second ago, let's go back to installed. We'll go to deselect popular, and we'll just go to Black Rider Golf Course. Here, this is where you're going to add your players. You can add as many as you would like. If you have someone over that has not been added, you can create player right here. So you just create their name, and then they're going to pop up in this this next box here. So once you have them added, say you want to do scramble, kind of the big thing here. So say me and Cole, who I have here, wants to do a scramble. The biggest thing that I need to do is just make sure that our colors are the same. So me and Cole would both be red. Ethan and Beckett would be blue, and that allows us to scramble. So myself and Cole would be on one team, Ethan and Beckett would be on the other. If you want to undo that and just play stroke play, he's green, he's blue, and he will be orange. And that's how you would do stroke play. Game settings, or game type rather, you would go into here, do the drop down, and you have obviously different match plays there. You can select different tee boxes. So not going to go through this in great detail. The realism here, this is another, if you remember back when we were selecting whether we want to kind of play casually or not, this gives you the ability to use your player setting. So are you wanting to play casually, which helps when people are over and it's not as realistic. Or if you want to force realistic, that's going to be the most realistic gameplay, obviously. And then we can go over, let me back up a little bit. For the individuals that make these courses, so our course designers, they're going to have recommended settings. You can just click those. It's typically going to be the harder settings. So if it's a course with a lot of wind, it's going to automatically set it to where it's breezy or windy. If it's not, if it's a fast course, it's going to be recommended to the design of that course of how it realistically would be played. Over here at holes, say you don't want to play the front 9. You can just select that, play the back 9. Say you want to play the front 9, deselect, then select. Or maybe you just want to play one hole. So you just want to play this par 5. You can select that. You can head to the range, hit a few, and then go to the course, or you can go straight to the course. All right, my favorite tab, the practice. So I'm going to skip over. Well, no, I'm not going to skip over because there's a lot within the practice range. I'm sorry. This is going to be an in-depth video. Feel free to skip around. It's going to take a bit, but it's super important because GSPro has so much to offer. So this is the range. There's a lot you can do with this. When people ask, is GSPro worth it? It is just for the range. Obviously, there's tons of courses, but just for the range it is. So I'll tell you quickly why. there's a lot of customization. So let's just go ahead and start with, you can move, say you want to practice just on the range, these shots, you can move the actual hole closer to you, further away. But my favorite part is the ability to use dynamic holes and the playground. The playground has so many holes to offer. You just click this and you can change your aim point. You can change the pin location, ball location, or you know what? You want to get really custom with it. Let's just go ahead and hit our mini map here. Say you want to work on putting. Hit this ball and go ahead and just drop it on this putting green. And then you can practice putting, obviously, if you are on the right hole. Let's try that again. So let's put it on actually the right green so we're facing. So now you can work on putts. You can pick up this ball and drop it anywhere. And that goes for the range. It also goes for on-course practice, which will be the next tab in the next subject. Let's go back over the dynamic holes. Lot you can do here. You can run mini games. If you have people over and you don't want to get bogged down in an actual 9-hole, full course, you can go into mini games. So you can switch what the green looks like. Hey guys, you want to do some island shots? You can do that as well. Different pin locations. You can rotate the green. I want to hit a 100-yard shot. Let's just do that. Drop it down to 102. We can hit that. Maybe we're struggling. We can add that back. The next thing we can do is we can actually hit apply. Hit the people icon right here in the white box. And we can set up a game. So maybe there's 4 people here. We want 3 shots per round. And the game to win is going to either be the best ball that you hit, or the sum of the distance to the pin, or the average distance to the pin. You can select where you eliminate people. So 4th place would eliminate, then 3rd, or you can select just multiple rounds right here and do 2, 3, whatever you would like. And this is why I love the range. You can do so much. Honestly, probably could have just made a video just on the practice range of all the things you can do. You do have the clipboard here. This will have all your shots. So say you hit 10 shots and you want to export that, you can. Say you're someone that is teaching or really trying to better your game for game improvement, you have the option to export or keep data there. All right, then we'll move back over. So we're going to go to in round, confirm. We're going to go back into practice. And again, this is my other favorite part. If there's a 1A or a 1B, this is the next one. So say you were playing a course and you just struggled with a shot. So we're going to go to here. We're going to just play this par 4. Say we played this course, we were struggling, or we know a shot that we struggle with and we don't want to practice it in the range or on the playground. Like, we actually want to get on a course and visually see that shot. Or again, you played around and you're like, man, that I really want to work on that specific shot. Then you can load up a course, and using the same tactic that we did with clicking the golf ball, we can click that golf ball in practice mode and drop it anywhere on the course. We can practice our 10-foot putt. We can practice a chip shot. We can practice the 80-yard behind a tree. I mean, again, the options are endless. So when you do select one hole or you change tee boxes, manipulating it quite a bit, it does load a little slow sometimes. But all right, so now we are here. Again, we're going to hit this golf ball, and maybe I struggled with this shot right here, 55 in. Let's go a little bit more over to the left. You can hit this, maximize your mini map here. Let's go right here because that bunker scares us. And we want to practice on getting it over the bunker, but also stopping. You can hit this shot as many times as you want. It's in practice mode. So you're going to hit it and it's going to go right back. In my opinion, this is gold. Awesome to do. If you've hung on this long, hopefully you did. The practice was the main reason I wanted to make this video. I think that the knowledge out there, or just going and playing courses, obviously, is why you have a sim, but there's a lot of options when you're wanting to do game improvement. And that's why I believe that second tab of practice is one of my favorite ones. All right, we're going to launch in challenges. I'm not in this enough as I should be, but there's all sorts of different challenges that we can do. And so we have we'll work right from left. We have the 60-shot skill challenge test. I think that's probably the best if you really want to dial in kind of your irons. You have your long drive contest, and then let me move myself here. You have custom skill test, you have driving challenge or distance challenges, and then you have Operation 36 Golf. That's in a partnership, obviously, with Operation 36 Golf. So I'm not going to spend too much on this tab, but there are some custom skills and some good skills within GSPro that you can utilize. All right, Sim Golf Tournament. So if you have GSPro, Sim Golf Tournaments, SGT, is a partnership and extension of GSPro. They're not the same, but they're basically, you can't have one without the other. So SGT, I believe, price increased. So your GSPro subscription obviously is separate. SGT was $75. I think it's $80 now. So $80 per year. And basically what that allows you to do is it allows you to play competitive golf online. There's a bunch of different tours. In the comment section, I'm going to drop a link to what SGT is. I'm not going to get into it on this video. This is just explaining what GSPro is, how to get to things. So there's different tours you can play in. So just on my screen here, just to kind of go through, Web Plus Tour. That is just a stroke play tour that typically 200 to 300 people play in. It's 2 rounds of 18 holes, and there's a lot of data in there. Again, it's online, so you got to have the internet connection, live, things of that nature. There's a par 3 tour that I registered for, and then I have a 2-man scramble tour. So basically, myself, another individual that also pays for SGT, can play a 2-man scramble round competitively against others every week. So, if you do all 3 of these, you're playing 2 rounds of Web Plus, 1 round of a par 3, and then 1 round of a 2-man scramble. So that's 4 rounds, competitive golf. You have a leaderboard. It keeps up with world golf rankings. There's a lot of data in there where you can see shot on each hole, your greens and regulation, all the data that you would need or you would want or that you don't want. And then it does keep up with your handicap and things of that nature. The big nugget there is some tours are handicapped. So if you have a certain ball speed, you can't play in it. Or if you have a certain handicap, you can't play in it. So it does keep it kind of competitive. Again, I'll drop a link for Sim Golf Tournament. So that's the Sim Golf Tournament tab. All right, we're going to go to online now. So online is very similar to kind of your local match, except online. So if you're thinking in game consoles aspect, you're trying to play online against a friend. It's basically virtually the same thing. What it does not have is a lobby or matchmaking capabilities. Hopefully one day we get there. We've had some decent strides though. So now we have public rooms, chat, things of that nature. So say me and a buddy want to play online against each other. He lives, whether same area, just different sim, or lives states away or country away. I can create a lobby. So basically I would make a room called Golf is the Best. I would hit create. And basically what that would do is I would give the other individual the same room, and once they type that in, it allows them to be connected with me. Again, you can have up to 8 people, just like you would in a normal local match. A couple things here. Obviously, they got to have the same course downloaded. And then you cannot be on different versions. So, for instance, I cannot be on beta. You cannot be on the stable version and us play online. We both have to be on stable, or we both have to be on beta. But all you would do, create a room. The other individual would get the room name, type it in, hit join. You do have the option to make it public. So if you do have time and you're kind of sitting around, Discord is the online best friend. So you can do searching for a game, things of that nature, but you could make a room name and make it public. So say you just, and what that would do is it would come over here. So right now there's no rooms available. Crazy. No one is playing golf right now in a public room. But yeah, that's the online side of it. And you would do kind of the same thing if you are playing with individuals in the tournaments, but you want to play together. So for instance, if you remember back, we have the Scramble Tour. Once I download this and I go into this course, I would invite a player, which basically means I would create a room. They would get the room name, Golf is Best, and hit, instead of create, they would hit join, and it joins that person. Obviously, they would have to have SGT at that point because we're playing the Scramble Tour round, but that allows them to be invited into that game. So, all right, let's go back. And the final thing here that we're going to talk about is just what to do while you're playing. Some tips, tricks. Let's jump into this course right here. We will not say it. You're not going to make me say it. All right, so while this loads, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my camera one more time, probably right over the ball here, just because I'll explain items on the screen. All right, we are loaded into the course. I'm not going to say the name, but we're going to kind of talk about some things here that I think are useful. So over here, we have Minimap. You can minimize that if you want more of an immersive experience. Maximize that. You can also make it bigger, or you can make it smaller. You can click over here. So for instance, if I want to play the left side of this fairway, it's kind of easier to click over here. Okay. So you have the ability to click. If you want to see how far something is, like that sand trap, you can just do that. We're 277. It also will give you 4 feet down. So I think sometimes it's easier to change directions, left to right, aim points, things of that nature from there. All right, next we're going to talk about these data tiles. They are customable. Next, we're going to talk about these data tiles. You can custom these however you would like, really depending on your launch monitor, on, you know, if you are getting club data, if you're getting ball data. At a given time, you can only have 12 of these on the screen. Just click it, and basically it is whatever you would like. So if you want to add one, you will see you're only allowed to have 12. All you got to do is just unselect one. Maybe I want to take putt speed off and use angle of descent. We can do that. They're also customizable from a location standpoint. So maybe I want to change club speed and putt speed. I can do that, and how it represents on the screen. Then you're going to click save. All right, up here we have our menu. So you want to end the game. Obviously, you hit the menu, hit end game. We can jump into settings. Say you have some visual settings that you need to work on. That's something that you can do here, and go to visual and kind of play around with different things. You can do offset, camera options. Let's go out of that, go back into the menu. We have lighting. So lighting really lets you kind of dial in your setting for your sim. So I'm in a room that has decent ambient light. It's kind of a little bit dark in here right now just for the video, but I play with a lights on. I have basically a slider that kind of dims them, but enough light to where people are not tripping and they can see when they're inside the sim room here. But you're able to change, these lightings. So if you don't know, kind of my stance on this, if you don't know much about this, don't change much, because you can get it all sorts of crazy. The cool thing is you can just hit default settings and get it back. But if you don't know what you're switching, then it's best just to leave it alone. All right, so we're going to get out of there. And yeah, I think that's really about what I want to show from the game menu standpoint. Let's dive into shortcuts. This is probably the third reason I made this video, shortcuts. So what we're going to do is you can actually get to them by two different ways. You can go to the menu button and do shortcuts, or you can hit the tab button on the keyboard and it'll bring up shortcuts. So my word of advice is get very familiar with these shortcuts, okay? And for instance, some of the most useful ones, and the ones I use on a almost shot-to-shot cadence, is the heat maps. So let's go ahead and hit Y. You're going to see heat maps over here. See if we can make this bigger for you. So you're going to see the heat map of the green. This allows you to see that, the front of the green as its lowest point, the flag is actually kind of on a little bit of a hill. And then the back of the green is higher, obviously red. And then so this green is kind of going back to front, but then also left to right. So you see the yellow. Yellow is not as high as red. So red means it's the highest. Blue means the lowest. So that's kind of how you read those. And then also hit the Y to get that. Aim point. So, or shot cam rather, sorry. So J, let me hit the tab button there. So J gets you a zoomed in version of where your shot is. So at 270 yards, that's where the shot is. If I want to change this and say I want to aim further right, I can do that and you'll see that it moved. I do that on the mini map. Once you're zoomed in, you can also move it here as well. You can go left and right, you can go back, things of that nature. Hit J to get out of there. Earlier in the video, I talked about your frames per second. This is another one that I think is nice to use if you start to see some skipping or some glitching, if you will, of your game. So maybe you're at 1080p and you're trying to run it on Ultra and you're playing a demanding course, great visual graphics, and you're starting to see some skipping in the gameplay. You want to go ahead and I'll bring up the shortcuts via the tab. If you look at your F key is frames per second. If you're someone that has a lot of people over or in a commercial setting where you're using GSPro, this would be nice to print off. I've seen images just on Google. Print it off, put it above the computer. It's very handy to do that. But say you want to look at your frames per second. You hit a shot, you can hit the F key. So right now in 4K Ultra, just sitting here, I'm running around the 60 frames per second. Once the ball is hit and you're starting to see action, that's going to drop a little bit. It shouldn't drop very much if you have a high enough graphics card. But just hitting the F key is going to allow you to look at those frames per second. Right there, that's the frames per second that's going right now. You can do VSync 1, VSync 2, or you can just turn it off. A little bit more in depth on what those actually do. I'm not going to go into detail in this video. For the sake of it though, just know that if you hit F, it'll jump up and let you see your frames per second. I think that's very valuable because courses are all different, especially ones that are being made and produced now. Thank you for the course designers for what you do for GS Pro. I can't imagine the countless hours and hours that you put into it. So I just want to say thank you. And we're putting a lot of graphics into that. And so, you may have a pretty stout graphics card. So you thought, and you jump on one of these courses that just, was released this week and you're starting to struggle. So one thing you could do is just hit the F key and see what your computer's doing and then drop down. So if you're an ultra, drop it down to not very high, but drop it down to higher. Very high, higher. There's really no visual difference. You may even drop it down to medium. Once you get to the low and then the GS Pro Lite, you're going to really start seeing some visual difference. But usually in that medium to high, you're not seeing much difference. But all right, another one we're going to talk about, just a couple here while we have the tab open. You can hide the UI. So say you want to just be immersive and you want to hit this shot with nothing on the screen, you can do that by hitting the H key. We'll hit the H key back and it pops back up. Again, if you want to go into settings and that be removed permanently, you can. You can also switch it to where once you hit the shot, that it does it for you. Go back into the tab. We have flyover. So O is going to do a flyover of the actual hole. In settings, you can have this set to where it does it automatically. In my opinion, I turned it off. It gets a little obnoxious from the standpoint of it takes more time. Sim golf, you have a simulator for a reason, right? You're trying to cut time. You're not going to the golf course. Like, the flyover is awesome. It looks cool, but it does cut into the time. All right, bring tab back up. The one thing I do want to point out, and I won't be able to do it here because I'm not hitting a shot, but the B key. So the B key hides items behind you. So say you are right in front of a tree. As you can see in GS Pro, if I move my camera, of course, we are a little bit behind the ball. So our camera view is just not sitting right on top of the ball. We're 3 or 4 feet back. So say there's a tree that's not in your way to hit the shot, right? It's not affecting your shot, but you can't see the ball. So what you're going to do is hit that B key. So when I hit this B key, you're going to see the visual of the screen change a little bit. And what that does is it's removing objects behind you. All right, hit the B key. All right, so you can see it get a little foggy, change a little bit. If that doesn't work, sometimes I have it work where you just select the B key. I've gotten a good battle rhythm to hit J. This works every time. I've never had it not work. Hit J, then hit B, then hit J, and when you come back, it's removed. So I don't know why that tactic works. Don't ask, but it does. So I always tell people J, then hit B, and then hit J again. And then that for sure removes what's behind you. Maybe it's tall grass. I think also if you're on a very steep decline, and so you have the hill behind you, and you're wanting that removed because you can't really see the ball. Another good way to do that just by hitting the B key. All right, if you want to bring up the scorecard, obviously you can do that in menu settings. You can also do it by hitting the T for a scorecard. And yeah, that's really kind of the few that I want to point out. F11, full screen versus not full screen. So say something's going on in the background, you want to tap or you want to get to it and not close out GS Pro, you can hit F11. It'll minimize it basically. And you can do something with your computer if you're running one screen, of course. And then F11 will bring it back up. So familiarize yourself with this. If you are new to GS Pro, I would study this. I would have it printed out, especially if you have people coming over. I've played quite a bit of simulators where you don't have this. You're trying to zoom into your shot, or you're trying to use heat maps, and it's just not there. That's frustrating. All right, guys, so that wraps up the video. Again, this was a long one. I apologize. And if you stayed this long, I greatly appreciate it. If you like this video, definitely give it a thumbs up. Leave some comments. I'm sure I left some stuff out. I don't know. I don't know it all. I learn something every day. So if there's something I left out, please drop it in the comments. And I really hope you enjoyed this video. And again, I do want to just thank all the course designers and for what they do for GSPro and allowing us to play these awesome courses. I think GSPro is top notch, and I hope you like this video.